Cornette said to us, he goes, I can guarantee you $75. Some nights I'll be able to give you $100. He goes, it's 3 nights a week. And we're like, we're in. He goes, all right. He goes, but I have this idea. So we're like, okay. He said, and this is going to be a funny part. He goes, I was at a Glenn Danzig concert. Now
Jim
imagine
Cornette.
Yes, at a Danzig concert in New York. So like totally way out of where his comfort zone. A Glenn Danzig concert in New York. And he said, these guys were crazy. He goes, they were beating the shit out of each other. They were spitting on each other. He said the way they were dressed, he goes, and then this performer came out, the opening act, had makeup on, was wearing a dress, had these like fishnets on, they had earrings. He goes, but it was like slam dancing. And I knew exactly what he was talking about because I went to those over in Philly with my buddies. We went and did, in the mosh pit, slam dancing at the bank over in Philly. So I did all of that. So I knew exactly what he was talking about. And he said, yeah, so it turns out the opening act was Marilyn Manson for Glenn Danzig. So that's where Cornette pitched us the idea. He goes, not that I'm expecting you guys to get a bunch of tattoos and piercings or wear dresses or anything like that. He said, but I just think, he goes, with you being from the Northeast with your attitudes and the way you come across, he goes, I just think you could pull it off. So he said, whatever you want, we're in. So then it turned into, what do we wear? So the first TVs we showed up, we had no idea. And Cornette goes, he goes, all I know is you guys are the Headbangers. He goes, I think you may be Mash or Smash, and then you're going to be Thrash. And we're like, well, Smash isn't Demolition, so we don't really want to use that. So literally, we were in the back trying to figure it out. So Cornette was like, so we had black shorts. I think Glenn wore high top sneakers. I had an old pair of work boots I had on. And Cornette had bought a Metallica shirt, threw it to Glenn, and he bought us a Slayer shirt, and he gave it to me. He goes, this is what you're wearing. So we're like, okay. And then he goes, they have like makeup on their face. So Glenn and I literally in the back with like face paint, like trying to put it on nice and neat. He's like, no. He goes, that's not how it works. He just took his finger, he dipped it, and he went like this on both of our faces. And he goes, that's all you have to do. Now go. So we were like, okay. So, and we still at this point didn't know our names. All we knew we were the Headbangers.
Awesome.
So we go out.
Any epic Cornette rant stories, anything you could share? Any good on the mind?
There's actually one from that night, that first night in. So we were taking the gangster spots, New Jack and Mustafa. So we came in and they see us and they look at New Jack, looks at Cornette. He goes, who the fuck are they? And Cornette goes, they're your replacements. He goes, what do you mean replacements? Cornette goes, you're finishing up. Like, they're going to come in, they're doing TV. You guys are going to finish on the road. And then they're going to come in, they're going to take the spot. And New Jack goes, well, what if I just quit? Cornette goes, get the fuck out. He goes, get the fuck out right now. Like he started screaming. And then when he started yelling, like New Jack stepped to him. And then like Tracy and everyone like stood behind Cornette. And they were all like, then they just kind of packed up and left. But yeah, no, I've seen Cornette throw monitors across the locker room. Those, you see on TV when everyone used to take the TVs out and put them on the floor before someone goes through the Spanish announcer's table. Monitors like that picked up, just thrown, smashed against brick walls. One memorable moment was, I don't remember where we were, but he had the barrier around the ring was literally a piece of string. There was 2 poles like cemented into little coffee pots, and then there was a piece of string. That was the barrier to keep the fans away. Cornette goes to step over the rope, and the fan grabs the rope and tries nutting him. Cornette, like it was no big deal, just turned around with the tennis racket, not flush, sideways, right in the side of the head. The guy goes down. He looks over at security, goes, can you kick this guy out now? The guy was laying on the floor. Yeah, Cornette is the best. I owe from him, giving us the idea, the gimmick, letting us grow it into whatever we wanted to grow it into. And then he's actually the one who went into Vince and said, hey, I got these 2 guys, you need to take a look at them. And Vince was like, tell me about them. And Jimmy's like, well, you've seen them before. They've been coming up here and doing jobs. He goes, they used to be the Spiders. And Vince was like, yeah, I know those guys. He goes, just put them under the part-time contract then. And that's how we got started. So, from where we went, if we never got to Smoky Mountain, then we probably never would have made it to where we got to.
Any epic Jim Cornette stories? Any rants? I did TV in Smoky Mountain before, and just that one time I was there, it was you just sit back and watch him the whole time.
It was, well, see, and that's the thing with Jimmy is if you don't want to know the answer, don't ask him the goddamn question because he's going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. You know, a lot of people take his advice as criticism, and it's not. He's just being honest with you. You know, if he doesn't think it's there, he's going to tell you, I don't think it's there. I'll never forget when I came back, when me and Chaz got back together again about 12 years ago. We did a show, and he was on it down in Fort Lauderdale. And I went up to him, you know, I was 315 pounds, you know, I just dropped all this weight and stuff like that. And I said to Jimmy, I said, do me a favor. I said, just watch us and see if, you know, we should keep going. And you know, have something happen again, stuff like that. I didn't want to, I guess, leave the way that we left and just separate. I wanted to end it the right way. And we came back and we did a match. I forget who it was with. I came back and I said, well, he goes, boys, it was like 1995 all over again. And that's all I had to hear from him. And he was always so, you know, Cornette, he's just, I think a lot of people, they just misunderstand him. And I don't know, I've never had a problem with Jimmy. You know, has he said some things that I didn't like? Of course, but he was being honest. So you fix it. You know, if you don't, like I tell this to people now, if you don't want to know the answer, don't ask me the question. So I'm going to tell you how it is. You know, you may not like it. Not everybody likes to hear the truth. So, I mean, Cornette came up with the headbanger gimmick. He was, you know, he named us. You know, he gave us an opportunity in Smoky Mountain when we were done with, you know, Lawler and, you know, Ozark Mountain with Bruce, with God, Bruce Love. He just passed away too. Son of a, see, I forget everything. I forget everything. Burt Prentice. So we started Ozark Mountain with Burt Prentice. And so after we were done with our runs with, you know, USWA and then Burt Prentice, and we went over to Cornette. He was like, yeah, I don't like the Spider Hoods. I don't like them at all. He goes, so let me think of something and I'll let you know. So he calls us up and he goes, I just went to a Danzig concert.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Jim Cornette, a Danzig concert, of course. He goes, and I saw these guys in dresses. They were spitting on each other. They had all these tattoos and piercings. We've always had the tattoos and piercings, and we listen to that kind of music. And he goes, I think you guys should do something like that. You guys should be called the Headbangers. Mosh and Thrasher. I went, Jimmy, you know there's a guy in a band called Slash, right? He goes, all right, Thrasher. Mosh and Thrasher. That's your names. And I was like, all right, I want to be Mosh because it was a shorter name. So I was like, nah, that's fine. so that's how we came up with it, is all through Cornette and everything.